Hey guys, happy Friday. Oh my gosh, I just made it here by the skin of my teeth. I don't know if y'all know what that means, but that means like in Southern language, like I barely made it here, like at 12 o'clock because of this traffic. What is up with today, guys? I mean, what's really up today? Because it's like traffic everywhere and it feels like a Monday, but I'm so happy to be here. We have a great show today, guys. And, you know, it's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week for me, you know, and like we always talk about being a mom and stuff like that. You have so much to do, like carpool, basketball, dance, conferences with teachers about behavior. Okay. I had that yesterday. It was 2 hours, but it was worth it. It was great. Bible study, you know, cooking. I made lettuce wraps last night. Has anyone ever made lettuce wraps? Hey, Yvonne. Hey, Sue. Hey, Heidi. Thank you guys for watching. Have anybody ever made lettuce wraps? I love them. They're super healthy. And I'm trying to be like a really good mom, like cook healthy for the kids, cook healthy for me, cook healthy for my husband. But like they ate it and they're like, that's it. They were really, really hungry. My son was super hungry. And I was like, but this is healthy, you know? He was not having the lettuce wraps last night, guys. And they're like, what? Like 100 calories per each. It's really healthy. But man, they were not. So then after church, he told the guy that he hadn't eaten in 2 days to ask for food because they were having some kind of food thing there. And he told the guy he hadn't eaten in 2 days. I said, he just ate at like 6 o'clock and it's 8 o'clock. So we made a run to Sonic. See? What happens? You try to do the right thing. You try to make lettuce wraps, try to make the healthy things, and they still want junk food. Sonic. Anyway, so that's my rant for this morning. But I want to talk on a more serious note, guys, that, wow. You know, when everybody says, like, I got you, girl. Like, I got you. Like your girlfriend says, I got you. She don't really got you. She don't have you because she ain't going to pay your bills. She's not gonna be there when everything falls apart. She might be there for when everything falls apart, but she can't really do much about it. Your husband, I'll tell you, or your boyfriend, he does definitely not get you, okay? As we know. I mean, he loves you, but he doesn't really get you. He might have your back. He might be there for you most of the time. But I will say something I learned this week in Regeneration, which is a recovery program that I'm in right now. You see, I don't know if y'all see this. It's really cool. It's my Regeneration Groundwork book with Jeanette with my name tag on it. And I do something in it every week, and it's really awesome. I mean, I'm so addicted to it because it kind of keeps me like focused on what I need to be doing, making good choices, not getting in the same pattern. I don't know about you guys, but do y'all do the same thing all the time, like expecting this different results? Because that's the definition of insanity. And that's what I've kind of tried to stop in my life. Like, not over shopping, not overspending, you know, not over being codependency. I don't even know if that's a word or a sentence, but that's what I'm saying, and I'm sticking to it. So what I will say that who has you, you know, God has you, because it says, look to the one who can. Look to the one who can do that. Okay. Look to the one who can take you out of your circumstances and make things better. Even when you don't see hope, even when you don't think that things can change, they can, and they can instantaneously, or they can happen over a period of time. But I love here it says, there are some things you can't change. So look to the one who can. And, it says, this is the scripture in it, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. Okay? I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41. Now that's somebody getting you. Okay? That's someone that gets you. Okay, they're going to strengthen you. They're going to help you, and they are going to uphold you. They're going to hold you up so you can do what you were created to be. And who better to have you, to get you, but your creator? I mean, think about it. If you were an inventor and you invented something, wouldn't you know that invention inside and out? Wouldn't you know how it ticks, what it works, how it works, what things to stay away from, what things to that you invented it for, versus, oh, no, don't go over there. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be over here. Well, that's how God is with us. He's our inventor. He's our creator. So look to the one who created you to help you when you're in trouble, when you don't know what to do, when you're kind of trying to figure out where to go in life, like things aren't working out, you're waiting on paychecks, or you lost your job, or, like serious things, or you're in the middle of like a relationship craziness. You really need to stop and look. And I say stop and pause, like put the pause button on, tell everybody to go away and just sit and meditate and pray and ask God, like, what is it you want me to do? How do you want me to get through this situation? What moves do you want me to make? Because before I would always make these moves. Like because I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler from way back. Okay. I lived in LA 8 years. Like I learned how to hustle. And so it's like, oh, well, that's not working. Well, then I'm going to go around this way. Okay. Oh, the door's shut. Okay. I'm going to crawl on the other side and break through the bathroom window and get there. Okay. Oh, you're going to board that up? I'm going to crawl through the doggy door. So I always tried to find a way to overcome obstacles, which I like, but at the same time, I was trying to do it on my own power, which if you really look at it, we're kind of powerless, so we really need to go to the source, like plug in to God and let him know what you need. Let him know what he already knows what you're going through, but he wants you to talk to him and depend on him. And so that's kind of where I'm at spiritually. And that's our little tea time this morning to try to get us all in check and to try to remember that we all go through struggles, guys. Every one of us. And we have to really, to be successful spiritually and to be successful just in life is to really, really meditate and really ask for guidance on what we need to do, because we do have so many things coming at us all the time that could really take our focus and get us way off course and lost. And then we're lost, and then we're really messed up, and it takes a while to get back to where we need to get back on the road to where we need to go, to where God created us to do what we need to do. So anyway, guys, thank y'all for listening to me, because, I just feel like I'm going through this journey and I want you to go through it with me, because it really has changed me. It's made me so much more free and just accepting, and also accepting in my circumstances, and then just finding joy in the moment, even whenever things aren't right. I'm still happy. And if you can still have your joy in the middle of horrible circumstances, if you can still feel happiness in the joy in the moment of bad circumstances, that's when you're going to be okay. And you know what? You are going to be okay. Everyone's going to be okay. And speaking of, our next segment is the Home Sweet Home segment with Carrie Scott Counseling. We did something on anxiety and worry, which is a big thing of mine that I always struggled with. And we're going to do a 3-part series on depression, because it's so real. And you know what? We're trying to normalize mental health. We all go through it, but we don't want to talk about it. We all want to act like we're, Facebook fabulous, I'll say, and none of us are. So anyway, it's a little long, but it's our first introduction to depression, and it's me and Carrie Scott in her office. So we get situated here. Hey guys. Well, we're nearly at the end of February, and I'm back with my favorite therapist, Carrie Scott Counseling. And we're going to start our 3-part series on depression. And I know that that's not upbeat, that's not fashion, that's not beauty, but you know what? This show is about real issues with real women. And I know for a fact I've gone through depression. I fought it my whole life. My grandmothers fought it. My dad has fought it. So my sister has fought it. Like, we all have it kind of in our family. And so anyway, I know that I mask it, and I was, I don't know if I was taught to mask it or I just did that initially. But even when I was unhappy, I looked happy. Even when I didn't feel like doing something, I did it, And it caused anxiety. It created panic attacks in me. It created over shopping, overspending. A lot of things that actually, you have this problem, we need to deal with it. But then instead of dealing with it, we try to use other things to make us feel happy. Then we create more chaos and problems in our life. And so I wanted to talk to Carrie about it, because I feel like we all kind of go through that. And you know what? At the time, I didn't even know I was depressed. Right. Until I talked to a counselor, and she was like, well, you had 3 panic attacks in 1 month. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. I wouldn't even looked at it, until we started talking through it. And that's a serious sign, you know. But I kept trying to go on, you know. Trying to go on and keep it together. You're a mother, you're a business owner, you know, you have stuff to do. We
don't have time for tears. We don't have time to.
No time for tears.
There's no time for that.
I like that. So Carrie is going to kind of talk about what are some red flags we can, if we feel ourselves like you really need to stop. You can't ignore these signs.
Right. Well, and what you're saying is absolutely true, and that we get overwhelmed and we push and we push and we push and sort of suppress and then find ways to self-medicate, like you were saying, whether we go shopping or, you know, doing other things, we start drinking more, whatever. And then we realize, like, wow, my life is out of control. How did I get here? And so everything that you described is obviously one of the, you know, good indicators that something's not right. I find that one that people oftentimes will overlook is when they're just irritable all the time. Like, things easily get on their nerves. It seems like nothing just really makes them happy. Everything is sort of annoying or aggravating. Oftentimes people think of depression as like just being lazy and somebody's, you know, isolating themselves in the bed and pulling the covers over their head and just not wanting to get up and do. But it can present itself in very different ways. We can go up and look like we're going and doing and everything is great in life, and really behind the scenes and under the surface, like, we're really, really struggling.
Don't you feel like that actually is anti-self-care?
Absolutely.
When you feel horrible, when you're struggling, and then you try to act like you're not, don't you feel like that's counterproductive to self-care?
Well, it certainly is. I mean, because it's all about finding that balance.
Right.
I mean, we're going to have days where, yeah, we get up and we push ourselves, and it's not about that. We're going to, you know, have to do that on some days just because we may not be in the mood. But I would say it's important to know that if you are going 2 weeks and beyond and you're sort of in this irritable funk, or that you're just not really excited or looking forward to anything, that's also a good indicator. So if you're irritable all the time, and that's gone on for an excess of 2 weeks, if you find that you're just really not excited or interested, you're having to make yourself do things that, you know, you just don't find yourself wanting to do, that you normally would, that's also an indicator you want to look out for.
So ladies, if you're irritable, which I mean, you know, someone could say boo to me and I'd be like, what did you say?
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute. You know, and it's like, what is wrong with her? You know, mixed with my thyroid issues, which thyroid also makes you real irritable. It's like, whoa, you know. So, and then you feel like, what's happening to me? You know, am I hormonal? Am I going through the change, you know, kind of thing? So irritability, and then loss of interest in what you usually did that made you happy.
You're just not interested.
You're not into it.
Things anymore, whereas like you just really have to be making yourself do it for a long period of time. But I'm really glad that you said the piece about your thyroid and your health, because one of the first things that I will always recommend clients to do is go and have that blood work, find out where your levels are, because there are so many things that can impact, you know, of depressive symptoms. Your thyroid is one of them.
Huge.
And so you want to look and see where your vitamin levels are, what the chemistry is going on in your body. Depression is not a choice. It's actually a chemical issue that's going on with your body. It doesn't
Did you guys hear that? It's a chemical issue.
It is.
It's something that you got to get help for. You can't.
You have to be proactive about it.
Yeah, you have to take care of yourself, number one, and taking care of yourself is getting yourself to a therapist. And getting your blood work done and making sure that you have all your levels are okay.
Yeah, that you can rule out some of those other things that can look or present symptomatic of that.
Right.
Sometimes it can be as easy as, hey, I'm deficient in my vitamin D. I just need to go out more. Or
yeah.
maybe I need to take a supplement.
Magnesium.
Magnesium is another one. So, you know, it's those things like that. Well, I'm not a doctor. I still know that these things, you know, affect our whole self, you know, and how we feel and engage day to day.
Yeah.
So those are good things. And depression doesn't always mean that you have to get on medication either.
Right.
Sometimes that's something that's really helpful and important to do when you just can't seem to get over that hump by yourself. But it's not something that's the only way.
Right. Yeah. Right. And part of that self-care is taking time to slow down. Sometimes I know at church they've talked about having a margin in life. And there's, for so many years, I didn't have a margin, you know, so I would just do everything, and I had no margins. You know, in your paper at school, you used to have those margins,
Yes.
you know, and I had no margins. And so I had no room, you know, having that, you know, working out, eating right, and sleeping, getting your good sleep.
Is really important.
Everything. And you know what else has helped me is, like, take a shower every day. I know it sounds weird, but like, you know, when you get depressed, you don't want to dress up,
Right.
you don't want to take a shower.
Doesn't seem like as big of a deal.
You're like, I don't care.
And you just go throughout your day without that fresh feeling, so you've got this emotional funk over you, along with just
Feeling nasty.
Your funk of
Feeling, yes, your physical,
just,
like your
you know, the
your
air of the
pheromones.
day, and,
Pheromones,
right, your
yeah.
natural body. Like it can just, you know, be very refreshing.
Yeah, it can, but it is a very serious issue. I mean, we've had so many, you know, I know suicide's always been around, but we've had so many suicides, and so many people were like, oh my gosh, I thought she was okay. I thought everything was okay. You never, she seemed like a happy person. And it's like, you know, we can't continue to, we have to have some accountability as a community for these kind of things, that we all look out for each other and say, are you okay?
And we have to start making it okay to talk about it.
Right.
And I think that that's something else that's really important, is getting rid of those stigmas and just saying, hey, once again, this is part of just our overall health and well-being. We are all susceptible to it, and we need to start talking about it, because you're right. Suicide rates are high. World Health Organization has identified this as like the leading disease. That's over cancer, that's over diabetes, that's over heart disease.
Right.
So it's really out there. It's a real thing. It's not something that you just get over. And there needs to be support. You go to a doctor for a checkup on your cold or a sinus infection. You know, it doesn't have to be terminal, or you don't have to be crazy to reach out and just ask for help and get a little bit of support. Can make such a huge difference.
Oh, for sure. Because if not, you know, you'll stay in those patterns of drinking too much, or eating too much, or shopping too much, or going out, you know, and, you know, through all different other kind of things. You can do anything too much and excessively, and it can hinder and hurt yourself, as well as hurt others, you know, in your family, you know, and people you don't even know, you know. And it's like, it's kind of an endless cycle, I guess, because I just worked, and everything just worked. So whenever I started having thyroid issues and started dealing, I guess, with depression, all I knew to do was, you know, I mean, I always went to church and prayed, but, you know, then I would just start, you know, kind of cutting loose.
Yes.
For lack of a better term. And just kind of saying, well, forget everything, you know, like, this isn't working, so I'm going to try something else. Well, then I created more problems in my life. And so it really is so important that we recognize these things, and with self-care, especially as mothers, especially as, you know, women that work with kids, or even women that stay at home get depressed. You know, it's like you've got to really make an effort to stop and take care of those issues. You know, because I was talking to my friend this weekend. She said, you can't, if you're in the plane, they don't tell you to put your child's oxygen mask on first. They tell you to put yours on first, then your child's.
Right.
And the thing is, we can't help anyone unless we help ourselves first.
That's right.
And this topic has affected me, you know, even generations of my family. And so, you know, and none of us talk about it. You know, we all act like it's no big deal.
And I think that that's the key. I mean, that in of itself is going to just open so many doors of just being able to have those conversations and to really normalize it a little bit, instead of acting like it's something like just, you know, we need to sweep under the rug or hide, because we don't. And that, I think, just it empowers others to be able to, when you take time for yourself, when you say, you know what, yeah, I have a lot going on, but I'm going to do me. I'm going to take care of what I need and give a break. Then you give others permission to do the same. And that spreads. And if we can, more of us can sit up and say, hey, you know what? Yes, I struggle with this, and it's okay. And that gives other people permission to also say, own and accept what their journey is, what their challenges are, because we all have them.
We all have them. I know, it's crazy, you know, and I am excited. I am encouraged that people are starting to talk more about it. I'm encouraged that I even talk more about it, because I used to hide mine so much. And then just being at church, how the church is dealing with it, especially at Lake Point, and I know other churches are, Watermark and that kind of thing through Regeneration. That's a place where you can go if you're depressed, if you have anxiety. It's not just for people that are addicted to drinking, that are alcoholics or drugs or sex or food or whatever. It is all about like support and getting real healing for things that we go through as humans, and we don't all have to act perfect and that we're in a Bible study and say the right Sunday school answers.
Right.
And at the same time be crying inside.
Yeah.
Because that's not really an authentic life in Christ. And it's taken me a long time to kind of get there, as far as, where I've gone in my journey, and it's important though. And I mean, it's important to me, it's important to go to therapy. I think it's
agree.
really important, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, for all of us, therapist included. So
Yes.
I practice what I preach. I think it's important for everybody to go in and get the help and support.
Because there is freedom on the other side of it. That's the great thing, is that you might feel that way right now, you might be going through it, but once you really do the self-care and the work of allowing yourself to heal through therapy, through God, through all of the things that help you, there is freedom in that.
And it's liberating.
It is liberating. You feel a cloud lifted.
Yes.
I, for the first time, feel very free, and I feel very light. I don't feel like, I don't feel the way I used to at all. And I'm so engaged and I'm so present in people's conversations, in life, in my children's lives, everything, in my mom and dad's life, everything. I can give back. Yeah. Whereas before I was like, oh gosh, I don't have anything, because I was trying to hold it all back. What are some things that what are some stories you can tell me about people that have kind of come in, you've worked with them, and then afterwards how it's changed their life?
Well, I think that people learn a lot about themselves, kind of like what you were describing, and that in and of itself can be very empowering to have that new sense of self-awareness and just understanding, hey, what my needs actually are, and part of those needs are knowing your limitations.
I love that, limitations.
Yeah.
Once again, learning how to set boundaries in your life.
Yes. And that makes a big difference in knowing that, hey, it's okay to have limitations, because again, everybody does. We can't do everything. But like you said, when we get to a different place, then it enables us actually to do more than what we were able to before. And so I think that's what a lot of people are able to find, is sort of that self-empowerment of understanding yourself, being able to set those boundaries so they have not only healthier relationships with other people, but they have a healthier relationship with themselves. And so that's really important. Yeah.
It's really important. Because a lot of times when you're depressed, you really don't like yourself.
That's right.
You're really your worst enemy.
And
you're
also
really
being
hurting
able
yourself.
to trust yourself. I mean, that's part of it too. Being able to give yourself grace, to know that it's okay when we screw up, that you're, I don't know if the right word's entitled to screw up, but you're a human being.
Right.
And it happens. So, giving yourself grace and being able to say, okay, it is what it is, and you move forward instead of beating yourself up over it. And when we have that sort of inner critic going on for so long, that can really become a beat down too.
Those are the tapes they talk about in your head, the tapes that play like, you're not worthy, you're ugly, you're fat,
that's not good
you're
enough,
stupid,
you haven't done enough.
Yeah, look at them, look at you, kind of thing.
You're
it's
not
like all that
enough, you're not pretty enough,
which is
you're just not enough.
Right.
And the reality is you are enough.
I love
right
that.
now.
You're enough.
In this very moment.
You're totally enough.
Yes, you're enough.
And when you come to that realization where it's like, I like me and I am who I am and I'm enough, it's wow. It's mind-blowing. It kind of frees you,
I mean, it sounds really simple, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Because getting there, I think, is that journey that can be challenging.
For sure.
It's a simple idea, but to really internalize it and feel it within, not just to know it up here.
Right. To practice it every day, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we talk about in Regen and the program, is the practice the principles.
Yeah.
Because you really do have to practice them, and they really do work. As far as that. So our next part of the series will be on detecting depression in your children, because That is very, very important. And
tricky sometimes.
It's tricky. Yeah. It's hard to get them help and to get them to open up and for us to see the difference in them. Because that's really, those little ones, they do feel super, you think you feel helpless as a mother. The children's, they feel even more helpless.
Absolutely.
Because they really don't know.
They don't have the words, and they don't know what's going on with them. And sometimes what they complain about on the adult end of it kind of gets dismissed.
It does.
Oh, my stomach hurts, or oh, my head hurts.
Yes.
And it's like, you're fine, you're just wanting attention. Well, wait a minute. If that's
there's something going on.
Yeah, there's something
well, I
going
had
on.
Stomach aches all the time. Anytime I'd get nervous or anxiety, I would get a stomach ache.
Yeah.
And I think my mom knew immediately something's wrong, you know, because it was like, and the thing is, as a child, I just knew that I was having a stomach ache.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, and everything affected my stomach, you know, and all your emotions.
And that's
are in
how
there.
it manifests. I mean, it's in our gut.
Yes.
And that's what we say, you know, listen to your gut. What is your gut telling you?
Right.
If your
That's
gut
true.
doesn't feel right, then maybe you should pump the brakes.
Right. Pump the brakes. Anyway, ladies, that is our segment for this first show, but we'll have
so much.
We'll have it, of course. Isn't she great? And you guys go to CarrieScottCounseling.com to set an appointment, to ask her questions, or to follow her Facebook page. Is that right? CarrieScottCounseling.com. Okay, great. And so you guys, thank you so much. Make sure you self-care. Make sure you pump the brakes. Make sure you do those boundaries. Guys, isn't that great? Isn't she great? I just love sitting with, I swear it's like my own therapy session every time I go there, and we talk about things, and she's just so down to earth. But it's so important to normalize, like, let's talk about it. It's so important that we're normalizing mental health issues, especially with women, especially what's going on in the world, guys. I'm telling you, this is some crazy things going on now. But on to a little lighter subject. I was gone last week, and it wasn't because I was just being flaky, because I wasn't. I was in Austin for Fashion X Austin. There we are on CBS, me and Leanne with our line, shoplinfinity.com. The dress that you can wear 175 ways. Anyway, this dress is like wearing, I mean, it's like Spanx. It is like Spanx. Actually, it's more comfortable than Spanx, and it just like accentuates you in all the right places. And we were invited to go do Fashion X. There's one of our looks on the runway. We did street to daytime to office to red hot to gala. And it was amazing. There's some other looks there. And we also, I love what we did too. I have to brag on ourselves because we did do, you know, we had all different types of women, all different kinds of shapes, which I believe. I don't want to go to another runway show unless we see all different kinds of shapes, all different kinds of people. I'm sorry. It was incredible, this show. There's our last look, and you can see all the diversity in the dress as well as in all of our models, and you can see how the look can be transformed. And right now it's $150, guys, for the dress and one set of attachments. It's regularly $325. It's like an amazing deal. And you can wear you can throw on just the black dress and put on some great little jackets and stuff like that. But there's Kara in the middle, and that's Matt's wife, who is the founder of Fashion X. And then in the below that, I don't know if you can go in on that picture, Ziggy, where I have my hands up. But that was me and Leanne, and they put me right next to Matthew McConaughey. It's a very flattering picture on me too, I have to say. But anyway, we were so excited because this show was amazing, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. That was the Arc of Austin show, and Lee and I are going to talk about that a little bit. But I just wanted to talk about Shop Linfinity. It's been featured in People magazine. Okay, that was our first thing that we did. It's also been featured in Page 6, okay, in New York, Good Day LA, all kinds of places, it's incredible because people are wanting something, especially women. They want something that's comfortable, that looks great, that makes them look great. They don't have to think about it. There we are. There's Leah in the middle. She was our, you know, what would you call that, Leah? Oh, she was like our, you know,
finale. Walker.
She was the finale. She was the
drama,
finale.
darling.
Yes, drama. And so she actually came up because she's the one that talked to Matt and got us into Fashion X because I love her. So it was incredible, this show. This show was incredible, wasn't it?
I thought, we said we've been to a ton of fashion shows.
Of fashion shows,
and
yes.
This one was probably one of the best ones we've been to in a while.
Yeah. Because and then Leah's always like she's a professional model. This one right here, you might see her in the JCPenney. I mean, you see her nationally, but before that, she was always she's a fashion entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so she was always like in front of house, but this time she was in back of house. And there was a million things going on, I don't even know how many models there were. Do you know?
There was a ton. I mean, we were all just kind of, go to hair, go to makeup, go get fitted. And I was, steam this, steam that, get out of this. And, by the end of it, I was walking around in just, my undergarments. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, if you guys want to see all this fabulousness, that's fine. I just need to get it done.
The good news is that everyone else was walking around in all their God-given talents.
Yeah, yes. So it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved some of the shows. Obviously, I liked our show the most because, it's a different type of fashion. I was kind of nervous. Leanne and I were nervous. We were like, oh, it's not like it's not super like theatrical. It's like a real woman would wear this. And it's very practical, yet it's elegant and chic and classic. And so I was a little concerned, but the way we put it together and styled it, I thought it really showed the diversity of the dress. And, and we showed the diversity of how it looks on every body, it looks great. It makes you look great. So if you guys are interested in that dress, you need to go to shoplinfinity.com like now and get it because it is so cool.
It's amazing. I'll be honest with you. I had never worn the dress.
No, she hasn't.
I covered it for Inspire & Style magazine.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Talked with Jeanette about it. And when Jeanette asked me to be in the show, I was like, okay. But really, when I zipped it up, I felt fabulous immediately. It hugged. I don't really have the hourglass figure, but it gave that to me. Then when I spanked it up, it was just like hourglass on 10.
It is.
So I felt very confident, and I think that exuded on the runway.
I think it did too.
It was the dress.
All the models were so confident. They were like, oh my God, I love this. I feel so great.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel good. Yeah. And instead of the dress wearing you, which a lot in fashion we do, you wore the dress.
Yeah.
And yet it made you look even better than you are, which I don't know if that's possible.
And it just
it snatched all that.
I was snatched, honey.
It was snatched.
And the men's just came running.
Of course. Well,
the DMs were popping after that.
Oh.
No, they really were.
Well, this other show, this is one of my favorite shows. This is the Arc Austin. And this is a facility in Austin where they encourage, they facilitate, they help, they develop young adults with special needs challenges. Yeah. Anyway, Nordstrom's styled it, which I love the clothes at Nordstrom's.
Look at that.
But the diversity on this runway was something that I have never seen in my freaking life. These people, they were dancing, they were break dancing.
Do that again.
They were break dancing. Look, there he is. I'm not joking. And guys, everyone was freaking out. And this is what I loved was this show. It was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I just felt like it was the best thing I'd ever seen. And I was just super like on a high watching it. I mean, look at this. She just twirled her skirt. I mean, and it's still great fashion too.
Yeah, it is.
And I just love the community in Austin. I love Fashion X. I'm such a believer now, Matt. And because it was just so full of community. And I talked about that earlier this week, but it was just, Austin came together and it didn't feel pretentious. It didn't feel like I'm one-upping you.
Yeah.
It was a community, everyone coming together and just celebrating, fashion. So I love that show. And what was the other show? That's the Arc, which I love that. That's part of that show. Mm-hmm. There was another show I loved that was Farrah, which is she's from Houston. I mean, she's from Dallas.
She's from Dallas.
Yeah,
she's about
from
to
Dallas.
Be on Project Runway.
Oh, she's on Project Runway?
Yeah, so she's on Project Runway with Vinny. So y'all have to tune in March 14th and support two Dallas.
Oh, and I love Vinny
too.
Folks.
Yes.
I love Vinny.
So Farrah is one of ours. We're claiming her.
She is amazing. I love her line. And then the last line I love, see how it's so cool.
Oh,
it's
so chic.
And also look at her diversity.
And Farrah's eco-friendly as well. So that's a lot of things people don't even know. Like she upcycles a lot and it's very eco-conscious.
Oh, and then my last one was Celestino Couture because I love that. That's just, you have to have like the icing on the cake. And those were like, those looks were incredible. You walked in it.
I did.
And look at that. That's Celestino Couture. And he actually, His partner is out of Dallas, but now they're in New York, and it was just breathtaking.
They served the
loved
drama.
it. Oh my gosh,
It was
they
straight
served
drama.
that drama up on the runway.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm so excited to look at that. Look at that. I love that. That's so crazy. And I know y'all are going, Jeanette, I would never wear that, but it's so
It
cool.
spoke for itself.
It
You
totally-
wouldn't even have to talk when you walked in the room.
It's a work of art.
It commands attention.
Yeah, it
And
really does.
It's very artistic. It was so comfortable. And I'll tell you, I was a little nervous because when there's dresses with no like belting
Yes.
or waist,
You feel-
I have a larger bust. I was
Yes.
like, oh my God, I'm gonna look pregnant. And it did not look like that at all. I had more compliments on that dress than anything. And I was
Oh.
nervous.
Well, you looked great. Look at this.
Look,
This is their last walk.
look, the finale look.
And
yeah.
they also featured women with curves. I mean, they didn't care. Our show and their show were the only two that really kind of
it was.
incorporated such. I mean, it's just so gorgeous. So anyway, that was why I wasn't here. But I just wanted to cover that because I loved Fashion X. You guys, y'all have to go. They have a show in Austin. They're going to have one in Dallas. You know, they're going to expand all over, actually. So go to Fashion X and their website and follow them.
Support them.
So what's up next is Dear Leah's segment, and she's right here with our friend. I'll let you introduce her.
Oh, I don't even know how to introduce you besides just being my roadie. Stephanie Dranka and I have known each other for a very long time, and we were talking about community, and then we were
Yes.
talking about conversations that are like super hard to have, but when you surround yourself with people who are open-minded and you can have those conversations, it makes some of the hard things a little bit easier. So welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
She's
Thank
a
you both for having me.
photographer, influencer,
What-
blogger,
what is- what-
philanthropist, videographer.
Yeah, what do you not do, dude?
I don't do sports. I'm not the tidiest of people, so you can ask my husband. I don't clean very often
Tie
in my house. So thank goodness for my husband. He's a neat freak. So
So I want to just dive right in. I mean,
Okay.
when we met, you were in the blogging sphere, and we all know how hard that is to be a creative and to express yourself through written form and photography. And to me, you were successful off the bat. Like, I mean, Stephanie, you had a crap load of followers and still do. So talk a little bit about life as an influencer. How did that all start for you?
So I have been blogging since before blogging was blogging. When I was in high school back in early 2000s, I had a live journal. I had Diaryland, Open Diary. I was adopted by a white family, grew up in South Lake, so I was heavily surrounded by people that did not look like me. I felt invisible. I felt, not understood. And so writing and reading were my escapes. And so my mom was a librarian, so I always read.
Oh, I love that.
And then I feel like kind of reading extends into a love for writing and just the written word and the power of storytelling. And so I would write in an online diary. And I taught myself HTML so I could customize the template. And then
This is my smart friend, y'all. This is my
and
smart
then
friend.
customize my MySpace
crazy.
page. And so when I got to college, I had a friend that was a WordPress developer, and he gave me my first self-hosted WordPress site, taught me how to customize themes, and it kind of went from there. It was before fashion blogging was in existence or that I knew of, and so I was just writing my feelings. It was, my boyfriend cheating on me and how I felt about that, and then it was, getting involved in Asian American studies and things that I was learning and writing my feelings about that. And then the fashion blogging kind of evolved when it became more popular because I was married to a designer who designed headwear and kind of geek apparel, and so I had Geek Glam. So I was trying to help.
I love
promote
it.
Remember, yeah.
So I
it
was
Geek Glam.
helping try to promote his stuff and just show that you can be geeky and still chic, and then it just really evolved from there. I realized that I actually liked being more behind the scenes, helping people develop the websites, taking photographs for it. I worked at an influencer agency and would help some of the top influencers design their blogs, optimize for search engines and all that.
So
That's
Stephanie,
awesome.
This isn't your first, round at the rodeo.
No.
You've been at the rodeo and running it
Yeah,
quite a long
yeah.
time.
Yeah, about 15 years probably.
So now you've totally expanded that brand. I think sometimes people don't understand all the things that bloggers or influencers do now.
Right.
So what all comes under the Stephanie Dranka brand now?
So the funny thing is I kind of had a come to Jesus moment when I left the influencer marketing agency where I just felt like this isn't who I am. I'm not a part of this culture. Like, I just don't feel like there's a place for me, and we'll be talking about that. And so my brand became just telling stories that I thought mattered. And so I worked for a nonprofit agency for a while and was working with kids and young people, helping them tell their stories and express things that they cared about. And so now my brand is really things that matter to me. So it's seeing the world, it's making people feel like their voices are heard, making them feel seen and represented through photography, through videography, through their writing, kind of giving them platforms, helping them develop their websites so they can tell their story.
I love that.
And I think sometimes people don't understand too, and Jeanette, you can probably attest to this too, like when you get started in the blogging, influencer, creative world, and you're trying to make a living, sometimes, and I did a TED Talk on this, shameless plug, but sometimes you get sucked into this world to where you're sacrificing your creativity to get paid or to the ideas of somebody else. And then you have that struggle, like, am I doing this because I want to tell the stories of other people or for the benefit of other people, or am I going to do this just as everybody else around me is doing it because I really need to get paid and really need to make a living? Where I see now there's a lot of fashion bloggers that blog the exact same way for that very reason.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really authentic bloggers who have left the blogging space because it's so frustrating to see, you know, the catapulting careers of people that don't represent them. And so you feel like no matter how much work I put into this, no matter how much money I invest, I don't fit that mold, so I'm not going to be successful. I better invest my time
In something else.
And you start to feel, I don't know, I was starting to feel fake. I was working in that space, so I knew which products were selling, you know, what worked, and I tried it and it worked well. But I just felt like I have these followers that don't even know who I am. When I start posting things that matter to me, I start getting really negative feedback or, you know, apathy. And I actually went through and I blocked and unblocked people to make them unfollow me. So I went from 30,000 to 8,000. I did it like in a weekend, and it just felt freeing. I was like, why am I so worried about followers that don't even know who I am?
And don't even appreciate who you are.
Right.
Like, it's not the real thing.
It's not the real
Well,
thing.
I have to say, I started way back before a lot of these bloggers weren't even. I was blogging, and
Tell us about it.
Amber even asked me to Reward Style, gave me a personal tour and signed me on. And I really appreciated that. I have such respect for her and what she's created there because she's such an amazing businesswoman. However, I felt the same way, but I never would compromise. And it was like, just like this show. You know, I do what I love. I express what I love. This is who I am. And I kind of stuck with that. Of course, I saw everybody else making more money and getting all these, you know, all these different products, which people would email me about, but I never would do it.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't seem authentic to me. And I feel like if I'm not living authentically, then if I'm not living my truth, then I am really sick inside. And then I do bad things. Because I do feel fake.
Yeah.
And it's like, who wants to live like that? I have such respect for you.
Well, and
that's so awesome,
It took a
Stephanie.
long time and living with toxic stress and not feeling like I could be myself in that space. And to the point where, you know, I had friends that were concerned that my health was, you know, being
Deteriorating.
affected, my relationships, my friendships.
Yeah.
And it wasn't worth it. I feel like I've said this before. I felt like I sold my soul a
Yeah.
little bit. I gave a little piece of me up for that world. And so now it's kind of retribution and trying to, you know, give back to
who you are. And I love that you said you wrote because you were adopted and everybody around you didn't. My children feel the same way. They don't look anything like us. And Isaiah, we were just in the meeting yesterday at school, and that's what he does. He writes. He writes free form to express how he feels. He's writing movies. And it really is so amazing. And I love how you say you're a visual storyteller, right?
Yeah.
She's a visual, and that's what you do.
love
And
that.
I mean, kids, people want that authentic voice now. And it's so, you're at the front of it again. I mean, that's awesome.
She's a trendsetter. So
really
I love
is.
Stephanie.
She
I
really
love
is. I
Stephanie.
love that.
And
I
to
love
have
it.
somebody that kind of understands you too and understands that
Yeah.
dynamic, because we've all been there. I've struggled with it, but I'm like you ladies. I've never compromised. I'm not
Yeah.
going to
You
push
haven't.
something.
That's why
That's why we get along.
That's
so good.
why.
I'll just say no. You know, I'll monetize this some other kind of way, but I owe this to my followers and my brand to only do the things that make Leah happy or that further push whatever my brand goal is.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that are sacrificing that, and it's just this world of it's just fake right now.
Well, and I feel like, you know what? We're all we all are going to look the same, smell the
Yes.
same, eat the same thing, go to the same places, drive the same cars, have the same houses. It's like, where did the individuality go to? Like, and I love that. I mean, I feel like people need to kind of claim that back and like go, no, I'm not going to be like them. I don't want anything to do with them. And that's kind of what you do is find people's unique and original voices through photography, video, and writing, right? And creating their space for their brand. Wow.
Yeah. And so recently we had a little bit of a controversy, and I don't, when I say we, I just mean I. And then
I always jump on.
and you have your blogger buddies.
Hot topics.
We go right to hot topics.
And it's deja vu because we
It's
were
deja
here
vu.
April last year
Yeah.
discussing the same issue.
So issues resurface, and one of the main issues that we have in the influencer world has to do with diversity in advertising and who gets chosen for what brand opportunities and what gets communicated out into the world. And 9 times out of 10, when you look at those advertisements or you look at who or what is chosen for those brand opportunities, they are not people that are reflective of me,
right,
or my world. And but then at the end of the day, they still want my money,
of course.
And it's like, but you're not advertising to me. You're only advertising to a particular type. So something fell on my Facebook feed.
Yes.
One night
I
as
love
I was scrolling through, and it was the same girl across the board.
Oh.
And there was no women of color at all.
I thought it was actually the same model.
No, it was not the same model. 3 different girls.
No, I'm
but
not
they all
joking,
looked
no.
Same
alike.
archetype of.
I'm not
of
joking.
one,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, that's weird. They just put her in different outfits.
No,
That's what I thought.
3 different girls. It was for an event.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the shopping district because we've healed so much in a day. But it was an event for the shopping district for them to say, come listen to this panel of experts tell you how to be successful at social media and blogging and all this other stuff. So what they didn't fail to realize, or what they failed to realize, was that when you do that and you don't include anybody else or make it diverse in age or in body type or in ethnicity, it communicates that no one that looks like Leah or Stephanie can be successful at blogging or social media. That's what it outwardly portrays. I don't feel like I have anybody to relate to at that event.
And just like modeling. When I used to look, I was like, oh, I wasn't blonde then. I had really dark hair. I had curly, frizzy hair. It's like,
But I like
they're
the
blonde,
blonde.
blue-eyed, and they're like type 0. I'll never be a model.
Right.
And I think it's so important for women and girls to see the diversity and go, I can do that because she did that.
But in the influencer world, it is really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
And you have the powers that be that will only escalate those types.
I understand.
And we have to fight. And I feel like Stephanie and I, particularly in Dallas, we've been fighting a really hard battle.
It's been a hard battle, and it's been hard because I had to acknowledge my part in it because I was in
Part of
that.
it.
I was in the space and in an organization that had the power to really determine the fates of so many of these influencers and their success. And, it wasn't until I got out and had some time to heal from that I realized it's my responsibility for all that time I spent there to speak out, even if it's unpopular opinions.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you for speaking out, for sure.
That's what I did.
And I appreciate Leah talking. You know what? We have to have those conversations, guys. If we're and the thing is that it just opens up and it brings us together.
It does.
And it educates us. And if we're educating each other, if we're coming together and we're just seeing, oh my gosh, I didn't even mean that. They might be like, we didn't even think about that because they're not coming from that point of view.
Exactly.
Then it opens it up, and like you said, y'all have had some healing, thank God.
And
right,
well,
a
I
little
think
bit?
even with the first magazine, so 2 years ago, before that article came out, and I'm very free. I will post the link for you guys. But there was one article that came out, and everybody, when I posted and said, I'm outraged, they went and kind of attacked the writer, but I didn't do that. I went in her direct message. I said, let me meet you for coffee and explain to you why people are outraged. I'm not going to come to you angry. We're adults. We're going to have a very civil conversation.
Right.
And she came very timid, but once she realized, like, oh, wow, you actually want to teach me why this was such a bad thing for us to publish.
Right. And it's important.
And even yesterday, same thing. Wow, Leah, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. It was inadvertent. We just posted. We put all of it together, and we didn't think that this is what our advertisements communicated.
Right.
And now we've come to a solution.
See?
I'm speaking at the event, but I'm doing it more to make
I love
a
it.
point.
But
I love it.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
a lot of it was taken out of context, and a lot of the friends of the bloggers in the picture took it as a personal attack. And I think that's
wasn't.
one of the biggest issues with this space is people see it so myopically, like, this is fashion, it's fun, why are you bringing race and diversity into it?
Right.
And they don't think about the fact that there's years of systemic racism in our country that
Right.
have created opportunities and advantages for certain people.
Right.
And, you know, when you look at what it takes to make a blog successful, it's expensive. It's time, it's transportation to events, and it's where are brands investing their money. And unfortunately, in Dallas, it's North Dallas. It's
Right.
white females who look a certain way. And, you know, one of the bloggers said, I've been doing this for 4 years. Like, I understand. You don't understand unless you're looking at why is there such a racial wealth gap in our city that gives some women the ability to go out and shop and spend this time invested in their blog, and people that are working just as hard and struggling but can't go to those events, can't afford the
Or they're
Gucci
not
belt,
invited.
or not invited.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people who don't want to talk about politics because it's not fun and fashionable, you're missing the bigger picture because everything is political. Everything is race.
It definitely
Everything
is.
matters.
And, you know,
And your voice matters.
everyone's voice matters. It really does. And I love this. We're going to have to continue this
This
conversation.
is part 2. We're running out of time.
Yes.
We're running out of
So
time.
Thank you so
Long
much for joining us.
And we
on this
brought
Southern
books for
Podcast.
y'all to read.
Read more.
Yes, but we'll do this next time.
Next time.
So you have to come back.
Yeah, we'll have to have part 2. But guys, thank you so much. Have a great week and send your questions in. And guys, I'm loving all the love on Facebook Live. You guys, thank you. You guys have a great week.
Share.
And thank you, Stephanie.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
a
thanks for
rock
having
star.
me.